Good morning. How you doing? Thank you so much for joining me. Janny is here. Hi, Jeanette. Janny. Sorry. Um, you have made it. Yes, yes, yes. Kara's here. Good morning. Kaz knitting a lovely shawl blanket in soft colours. Fabulous. Oh, shawls are lovely, especially this time of year, because you can take them off and take them on again, put them on again, and it's a brilliant, the weather keeps changing kind of knit, isn't it? Sarah, hi Sarah, how are you? Hi Dominique, you were here Saturday. Nice to have you here. Right, so let's just chat about what we're doing. It's Jenny, yes. The yarn declutter, let me just actually stick it all in here. You want to sign up for all of the emails. They're coming every Saturday in April. And that is, I know some of you have already signed up. Brilliant. So that's cool. So we've got the declutter emails coming, and obviously we've got this every week. If you want to get the worksheet, if you want to get the tasks for the week, then it is definitely a good idea to get it on a Saturday in email. And then you've got a few days before we start talking about it here. You can tell me what you've managed and what you've got up to. And if you want everything all in one place, then I do have it here. I've just put the replays of the videos in there. I'm going to do that as the weeks go by. The worksheets, the preparation tasks that we did last week as well, that's all going to be in there. So if you want that, then that's just £5 if you want to go and get everything in one place. I've got quite a few people in there already. It just means that if you miss an email or you've missed them so far, then you'll have them all sat there waiting for you. Right. Is it Carol who's Wolf? Because I kept calling you Lupin, didn't I? She is brushing up on her ribbing. Leslie, hi. And Joe made it as well. Good to see you, Joe. Tracy is listening while you're at work. Yeah, why not? Stella, hi there. Good morning. Yes, you're in, aren't you, Janita? Good, yes. Yes, it's Carol. Oh dear, that's so funny. Right, well, I love me some Harry Potter, so I'm going to call you Lupin. No, I'm not. Okay, so if you haven't watched the preparation video, then we were going for 45 minutes on Saturday. Go and have a look at that. It's just giving you an idea of what the first tasks were. What we have today, actually, let me just tell you the first task, because I got an email from someone. Chantel has done, she's in Canada, so you can't join us live. So hi Chantel, if you're watching the replay. Last 5 knitting projects, scarf, baby blanket, and bookmarks, and giving us a lovely lot of information about what yarn Chantel likes as well. This can be so helpful when you're decluttering. So even if you didn't get the worksheet or you haven't quite done it yet, definitely do it this week. Which yarns do you like? Weight, fiber, brand, anything that you can think of that those last 5 projects were all in the same yarn because I love that yarn. Or was there something that you knitted in the last 5 projects that you went, I couldn't get on with that yarn, I hate it. You want to know what you love and what you hate about yarn, because it will really give you an idea as you're decluttering. Actually, do I need to get rid of some of this because I'm never going to knit it? It looks beautiful. I wish I could, but I'm never going to knit with it because I don't like it. All that kind of thing. And you could do yarn swaps with friends, you know, in your little community. You know, even post it to a friend, put it on your neighbour's doorstep if they want to swap with you because they like some yarns and you like some other yarns, and you can just swap up. That kind of thing could be so, so helpful. So this is the first task, and that's what we did on Saturday. So now we're talking yarn storage. Okay, yarn storage, and we discussed this Saturday too. Where is it? Bins, bags, boxes, furniture, chests of drawers, all sorts of things like that can store yarn. You can do what you like, it's up to you. But just think, where would you like it to be stored? What's your ideal storage for your yarn? And somewhere, I'm going to have to find it, and I will put the link in later, that I created a Pinterest board with so many different inspirations for storing yarn. Do you remember the old glass cabinets that, I know my parents have got one still, all of their crystal glasses in it. You know, Dad goes and gets a whiskey glass occasionally, but that is ideal for storing yarn because you can see all the colours, but it's kept away from the dust. Are you using so much yarn all of the time, like I do because I'm selling it, that you don't need to get rid of the dust because it doesn't have a chance to attach to the yarn in the first place? All of that kind of thing. So think about how you use yarn, how much you've got, where you want to store it. Do you want to store it under the bed, in a cupboard, all that sort of thing? So we've got to decide on 4 things this week. Which room is most suitable to store your yarn? I know some of you will have a dedicated craft room, and that's ideal for storing your yarn. And you may just have a small, like an old vegetable rack, or even a new vegetable rack that you said, that's not for vegetables, that's for my knitting. That kind of thing. Just in the corner, and that's your yarn. It might be 2 shelves on a large dresser where all of your crafting stuff is. So many ideas, but which room do you want to keep it in? Think about that. Is it going to change, do you think, from how it's stored now? Okay, Heather is in Maine, USA. Hi. Yes, Janie, I'm so relieved to be finished with the fine cotton yarn, 7-foot rainbow scarf. I should think so, especially as you were knitting it double. It was probably more palatable when you were knitting with it, but it's definitely a very, very fine yarn to be knitting. Carol, got some lovely DK yarn. It was rather strange in the way it looked. Would have been easier to loom with. That's interesting. So you gave it away. Right, cool. Yeah, Mitch says, would anyone like 6 James C. Brett fairy cakes? Yarn cakes can be tough to knit with because the yarn is sometimes very, very thin. So unless you are a brilliant sock knitter, then you've just got to say, I probably won't knit with it. But yeah, there are patterns out there specifically for cakes of yarn. So if you want to give it away, I bet somebody will want to knit with it. Cara, the hooting pirate. Mine is in a vegetable rack in the corner. How did I know that? Kaz, knitting is in living room next to the settee. There you go. So is all of your yarn in the living room next to the settee as well? That's the thing. Do you have your knitting in one place because that's where you knit? Do you have your yarn somewhere else because that's where you store your yarn and you go, right, that's my yarn, I'm going to find something to knit, and then you take it somewhere else? That's generally what I do. I don't have it with me, obviously, because it's in the other room, but I have a bag, and then if I'm doing a small project, I have this bag with yarn, needles, pattern, or my pattern creation notebook sat in it. And then like every few months I kind of have to go, there's quite a few oddments of yarn in here. There's quite a few yarn ball bands in here. A few pairs of needles that I've not used for a while. And then I sort that out, put everything away, and I start over. Because I finish a project and I go, well, that's finished. There's no yarn in that bag anymore. So I just put more yarn in it and start knitting the next project without tidying it up. But, you know, it's just do what you do. But can we store it better? Can we do it? Can we store it so that it makes more sense? Is it all in a hodgepodge all over the house, but you need it to make more sense? So, Janie, I've just moved and acquired 3 puff style footstools from Mum and stashed all the stash in there. Brilliant. Dry, dust-free and warm living room. I wish the rest of my life was so organised. And what I love about that is that you've now said, this is where I'm storing my yarn. That's how much yarn I can keep. And that gives you the boundaries. I used to have 3 blanket boxes with yarn in. It was too much, and it was because people kept giving me yarn. You're a knitter, have some yarn. You're a knitter, have some yarn. And it just kept filling up. So I ended up having to say, well, I don't need it all. I don't need 3 blanket boxes full of yarn. That's enough. Veronica, I knit in the living room and store yarn in a bedroom. There you go. So just be aware of that and be aware of how much space you have to store your yarn as we go through the declutter. So the other question is, will you use the bag, a box, furniture, or a combination? Because you can have a cupboard with your yarn in. You could have a blanket box with your yarn in. But then you say, actually, I fancy having a couple of bags of yarn as well. Or I definitely have a particular type of yarn in a box in the bottom of my wardrobe. That is more than acceptable. You know, you make the rules. It's your yarn. It's your declutter. So just pick and choose exactly what kind of storage system you want. Bag, box, furniture, or combination. This is the spring. I don't know about you, but I feel like shifting up a bit. I feel like just saying, oh, let's have a new rug in the living room. I'm knitting some new cushion covers. We've had these curtains for 15 years. Let's get some new ones. It just feels like that time of year. So I've just also bought us some new duvets and pillowcases, pillows. That was amazing last night. I've had them since 2003. I can put the date on it. So almost 20 years, and I've said it's spring. I've always wanted a feather duvet. That's that. So it's the time of year when you can say, yes, I can make purchases, and yes, I can shift things up again. Spring is brilliant for that. So there will be a lot of Pinterest things you can look at. Like I said, I will share that Pinterest board with you for storage inspiration. Maybe there's stuff around the house and you'll just move it. You'll say, well, that's got the DVDs in, but I'm going to actually store yarn in it. So you just shift it up. And then it will all just feel refreshed. And yeah, have a go with that kind of thinking as well. What have you got that you can utilize already in the house to store your yarn in? Sophie, mine is currently being stored in a bag. It came in 2 or 3 balls because I only started 2 months ago. That's cool. I have a broken ankle at the moment. Oh no, which limits how organized I can be for now. Yeah, I get that. You just want to think about where you want to store it now and where will it be in the future. So if you want to create a particular part of your craft room, of your living room, and say, that is for my yarn, that could be it. Get yourself a nice little treasure chest made of wood or something. And then if you get a bag of yarn or you're knitting, it can sit there by the sofa, and that's where your knitting is. It can be that, excuse me. It can be that simple, but it will be, that's my yarn. That's my yarn for the future. That's where it is. And everyone will know, but you will know as well. And it won't just kind of spread across the house in random places. Having it all in one place can be so helpful. Kaz got a big old wooden blanket box from late granddad and grandma. Oh, wow, they made it for you. Fabulous. Yes, it's a very useful storage solution, I found. And I do split up the blanket box as well. So I can pull one crate out of it, and that's got baby yarn, and then pull another crate out of it, and that's wool for the winter. So it's that can be split up too. So maybe that could be something you do over this month. Split up the blanket box. Maybe make sure your bags are well organised inside it. Mitch, I did start a yarn declutter in January. It was really good for 2.5 months. Then I got the news of possible redundancy and I bought loads. So I have to start again. Yeah. The Nick was made redundant in June and he started a new job today. I had to make my own cup of tea this morning. Yeah, he's started his new job this morning. It's exciting. Sophie, I think I will end up getting my dad to build me something. He's a carpenter. Cool. Yes. Then you can personalize it for your height, etc. That's brilliant. That's a great idea. Yes. Becca, I started the declutter. I spent the last few days winding yarn into cakes and putting in order on my shelf. Yes. Oh no. Then my cat decided to jump onto the shelves and push all the yarn to the floor. It sounds to me as if you need something with doors. So you need a cupboard or a chest of drawers, or you need one of those cabinets with glass, with the glass doors. Cats and yarn do not mix. There are a lot of knitters on Instagram who've got cats, and I just don't know how they cope. Sarah, I'm finishing a honeycomb blanket in Tunisian crochet. Oh, lovely. Lovely. Thank you, Janie. Yes. Oh, it is good news. I've had, oh dear, such a hassle since Christmas because we were in lockdown again and there was so little coming up on the job website. So the last few weeks, it's felt hectic because he's had so many interviews. All of a sudden, people are going, oh, we're supposed to be opening up again. Yay, that's good. So, yeah, got a good interview and they said, we want you. So I was really happy. Kaz, what's best to stop bugs from getting into your knitting? Yes. Okay. So we're going to talk more about this. And I even have a video. Which one is it? It might be tips for storing your yarn. It could be that simple. Let me see. It'll be there somewhere. You'll find it. But, okay, this is something that you will find in the shop in a few months' time. But you can certainly get some now. This is lavender. So the scent will put off bites, bugs, mites, moths. And this, obviously, everybody knows grandmas put it in closets because it works. It works so much. So what you can also do, and I do this all the way around the wall here, and it's in the blanket box where the wool and the gang yarn is. It's all over this cupboard. Cedar wood. Cedar wood, just blocks of wood. You get it in different shapes and sizes. I'm going to see if I can find any to put in the shop, actually. I will have a look and see if I can find any. This is highly, it's naturally got the scent that puts off bugs and moths, etc., etc. So you're not going to have as big a problem as you might do. We don't have a major moth problem in this house. but I've put all of these bits of wood all the way around the yarn anyway. It's not going to scent your yarn. You're not going to suddenly think, crikey, this yarn stinks. No, it's very subtle, but it's enough to keep the bugs away. Great question. Great question. So you can use cedar, and you can definitely use lavender, and you can get the tiniest little bits of cedar wood like that. I got quite a lot of these just sat next to the yarn on the shelves there. Tiniest bit will make a difference. So that's cedar wood, and I have it hanging in my wardrobe as well. So that's an option, and so is lavender. If you go and find the yarn storage video, I'm sorry, I haven't got the link here right now, but like I said, I will make a note to do that. There we go. So the other thing to consider is actually how much yarn you want by the time we finish the declutter. Are you at a point where you say, I know I've got too much. I know I can't knit with all of this. I love buying new yarn to knit with. So why have I got all of this stash? Do you want a particular space to hold your yarn by the end of April? Do you want a particular amount of yarn? In like, I will have 10, 15 balls and that's it, because I know I will knit with it and then I'll replace it as I knit with it. That kind of thing. And you can go through this with different processes. What you could do is say, by the end of April, I want that much, but by the end of June or by September, I want to have knitted only one in every 3 projects with new yarn, and every project, every one, first and second project, I want to have knitted with stash yarn. That kind of thing will actually help you get through it and reduce it. So just think about how much yarn you'd like as a knitter as you go through the next couple of months. Now, are you going to choose to purchase anything or swap storage that you use in your house? We've already discussed that. But if you are willing to declutter more of your home, then it will just open up spaces that you maybe didn't think about before. Like I said, it's that time of year. Perhaps you just rearrange your craft room and you think, hang on a minute, I haven't used that for ages because I've never liked using that particular craft material or whatever. And then you go, well, that's a whole new shelf. Why don't I just put my yarn there? It could be that simple. So these I've had so much of my crafting bits and pieces on, and I just have maneuvered things around, thrown stuff away, given to friends, donated to charity. All of that kind of thing has just happened over the last couple of years. And I've had more and more room in here opened up for my knitting, for the yarn. And now this studio here is just business. There's nothing else in here. And everything else that's related to crafting is in another small storage unit, and it just doesn't make a mess, but you want it to be tidy. So just, does this inspire you to declutter somewhere else? What do you think? Kaz has got lavender plants. That's good. That'll be really good. If you can cut the tops off and dry it this summer, then it'll be great for the autumn. Veronica, I have all my yarn in different bags, so I'm looking for a small wooden trunk to put them in. Do you advise storing them by weight? We're going to talk about this another week. So think about your storage space now. You can store them in so many different ways. Weight, colour, amount you've got, brand, honestly. So we will talk about this another week. We're not actually decluttering the yarn yet. We're thinking about what storage you want. So just think about it. How do you use it now? Are you likely to knit with 3 different weights at once? All that sort of thing would just, you know, I used to have, this was, which yarn was it? It may have been Wendy yarn, because they had, I think it might have been Wendy. But the different weights they had were all in the different dyes, were in the same dyes. So I had all of them together and I was storing them all together. So that kind of thing may just be how you knit. So I can't say what cotton comes in different weights, but you may want to knit with cotton at a particular time of year. We'll discuss it more another week. Sophie, my cat hasn't shown much interest with playing with my wool. I've cut him little bits here and then to play with, but seems to be leaving what I'm working on alone. Oh, that's good. That's good. Dominique, I started to do, but I've got back to it, is go through the yarn with a laptop next to me and search for a suitable pattern for it. Yes. Print out the pattern or write the name of the pattern on a piece of paper, put the yarn in a plastic bag with the name of the pattern in it. Yes. That sounds so like me. I used to make my own knitting kits, and that was how I did it, basically. So true. And it was one of the reasons I started wanting to make knitting kits and wanting to create courses for you. So everything was there in one place. The needles, the yarn, the pattern, and that's there. It is your own created knitting kit. It makes so much sense. Dominic, so I can immediately decide if I'm going to keep the yarn or not. Yes, good idea. Sarah says, do I have a Facebook page? Yes, I use it. And if you message me on there, then it might take me a while to get back to you, because sometimes I don't notice, because no way do I ever have notifications on Facebook. If I had notifications on Facebook, I think I would go crazy. No way. I don't even have the little number on the app telling me how many messages I've got or how many people have posted on my feed or whatever. I refuse to do that. Don't do that on Instagram either. But I'm more likely to see your message on Instagram, and I'm definitely more likely to see it if you have if you've messaged me via email. So, you know, I'm available. I'm here. And send me a comment on a YouTube video and I will definitely see it. Veronica, yes, looking forward to this. Yeah, we're taking our time with this. I don't want to bombard you all at once with so many different tasks, because yarn is an interesting thing, so much so that we can get emotionally attached to it. So let's talk about the storage first, and then we could kind of get in the mindset of, I really am sorting this out. Okay, that feels a lot easier now, because I know where it's going to go and it feels a bit more sorted. Good morning, Kim. Hello. Janie, my Jack Russell completely tangled the last colour of my rainbow cotton yarn. Normally I wouldn't let my pets near my wool. I was on the home run with a scarf and got complacent. Oh dear. Oh dear. I hope it was okay. Stella, keep all the ball bands from every project and recycle bags full of them recently. Well done. Well done. Yeah. It's lovely to know how much you've knitted through. I tell you what, I have got here. And this is very similar to keeping the ball bands, but you just write down the information instead. So these are in the shop. They're knitting notebooks, but this one you get them in a pack. So you get the knitting planner. That's what you're going to knit next. The knitting review, so you can decide what you like knitting, what you didn't like knitting, and it just really gets you into a phase of saying, actually, I know why I'm knitting. Let me carry on with it, because it's you losing your mojo we've talked about this on Saturday, especially at this time of year. It's, do I want to keep knitting? I know how many benefits I get from it, but can I be bothered? So if you feel that in any way, then the knitting review will really boost your spirits. And this is the knitting pattern guide, and gives you, I'm knitting 15 rows of rib. Yay, I've done the first stripe. I've done the sleeve up to the elbow or something like that. And it just gives you all the mini goals. All of the information about the different patterns that you knit will be in here as well. So this is the knitting tracker, yarn tracker. So once you've knitted a ball, you can say, I've knitted that much. I'll also help you decide, figure out rather how many yards you've knitted or meters you've knitted, whichever you prefer, if you've only knitted half a ball. And you'll be able to, there you go, you'll see it there. You got the dates in there. You got the length of how much you've knitted, and you can measure how many meters of yarn you've knitted over the year. If you're that way inspired, if you're that way inclined, then go for it. They are in the shop, so shop.knitwithhannah.co.uk. There's a whole section of knitting stationery, and there's a couple of different styles of knitty notebooks. But I created these a few years ago, and the people who had them absolutely loved them. So I've put them in my shop again, because they are really useful. Just writing down and having it all in one place. I mean, I have it all in one place because I have various notebooks, the patterns that I'm writing, the YouTube videos that I'm creating, etc., etc., etc. So I know what I'm knitting, and I know what's on my needles at any particular time. But obviously, if you're not running a business like I am, then this kind of knitting planner will be ideal. So you can just have it all in a notebook. Then a bag full of ball bands won't be sat there, and your partner or your mother coming around going, honestly, that's such a mess. What are you doing with all of those? This will look a lot more professional, a lot more tidy. Oh dear. Janie, I just watched your informative video about worsted yarn. Yeah, it's worsted yarn and Aran yarn. There are so many myths, and there are so many different stories that come about because of the different names we give yarn. It's difficult to sift through it all and find what the truth is. And it just, I'm hoping that those videos just kind of cut through all of that and just say, this is why we call it this, and that's what it is. That's it. Sarah, I just want to send pictures. You can send pictures by my email. And Sarah, you can also do on a Facebook post. Every Monday, there's what is on your needles this week, and every Friday, there's what have you knitted this week. So go over to those posts and stick a photo in the comments. Love to see what you're knitting. And you can also, if you're on Instagram, stick something on stories or in your feed and just tag me. And I'm on there enough to see it. Okay, so we're talking yarn storage, the best practices. So we've talked about lavender and such like. If you want to organize your storage this week, you could empty your yarn out now, but if you're just organizing your storage in a particular place, clean it. Get the vacuum cleaner out. Dust it. Just make sure that it's all clean, because you may not have done this for a year. Just clean all the way around it so your yarn will be clean as well. If you want to be the best yarn storer in the world, then try and use natural materials when you're storing. So cotton, So cotton bags, for example. So wood trunks, baskets that maybe are lined with a linen. That kind of thing will really, really mean that your yarn is well looked after. If it's in a plastic tub, and I know there are so many plastic tubs out there. I used to use plastic tubs, but there is a slight danger of condensation building up because the environments inside people's homes could be slightly damp. It could be slightly cold. I'm right by a big bay window here, and used to get just that little bit cold underneath it because there was no insulation in the wall underneath the window. It's just a single layer of brick. And guess what? It used to be a bit cold, and of course it was warm in the room. So there was just that little bit of dampness. It's a little bit dangerous to put it in a plastic tub there. So everything in here is in wood, and it's fine because there's enough air. It's breathable. And if you're going to use plastic, then take the lid off and cover it with something else. There's just, that little bit of it's what you're leaving behind as well. Let's go into the sustainability. Actually, I was reading an article this week about everyone uses the word sustainable, and so many times it just doesn't work because sustainable is only so sustainable. So you could use cardboard, you could use wood, and baskets, like I said, may be lined with linen. There are a lot of tote bags around, cotton tote bags. Definitely put your yarn in them. The only thing I would say is don't mix up your yarn in cotton, because sometimes the fibres will just get caught on the inside of the cotton bags, and you don't want to mix it up so that you get different fibres sticking to other yarns. But certainly mix up your cotton bags with your different yarns in it and put it in a blanket box. That's enough. That's good. I know a lot of you will have the same thing. Yarn shops, if you're buying on yarn online, will give you these synthetic bags. They've got a really light weave to them, so they are breathable. So it's not like having this yarn in a plastic tub. And this, while it's not going to last a lifetime, it will last a good few years. So in some respects, it is sustainable because it's going to last quite a while. There is this sustainable thing where polyester is being recycled now, all that kind of thing. I was just looking on a clothes shop last night online, and so many of the clothes were, this is a sustainable fabric because it's recycled polyester. So this kind of thing will end up being recycled in years in the years to come, I can imagine. But it will last quite a while before then. You can mend it as well if one of the seams comes undone. So just doesn't really matter, as long as, I really do think it's a good idea to separate your yarn. If it's just all in one big box and you kind of just throw it in there, then it really is not going to be tidy at all. So separate your yarn as much as you can. And you can see these are all the same yarns. That's Rowan Summerlight DK. You'll see some more of that in a couple of months' time. So that will be there and available for you to pick out of your box, because you know what's in it and you'll see what's in it. So think about that as well. How can you separate it in the larger pieces, in the larger boxes? So that's today's tasks. That's this week's tasks. What space do you want to use? Where in the house do you want it? What then smaller boxes, what smaller pieces of furniture or bags do you want to then keep it in? And if you need to, this week, go and have a look. Give yourself an hour to say, okay, I'm going on my favorite yarn storage home furnishings website, and I'm going to see if I can afford or get to grips with which one I'm going to save for, or what little things I'm actually going to buy this week. what will be my perfect yarn storage for my yarn now. And that is a good discipline thing. If I get something, then my yarn won't exceed that. Because this time in the September, you don't want to have bought so much yarn that, you know, it's all lying all over the place around that. So I'm going to have a cupboard, I'm going to have a chest of drawers, I'm going to have a blanket box, but there's loads of stuff piled on top of it as well. Maybe not. Oh dear. So that is the exciting thing for today. Where are you going to put your yarn? Has anyone got any ideas? I'd love to know. Tell me where it is now and where you want to keep it coming up to the next few weeks, and any ideas already. I will post that Pinterest link. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know whether it'll be easy to find. Will it be there? There we go. I got it. There we go. Dominique, I have a huge attic with shelves. That's where it is going. See, that's better. Someone I knew had it in her loft. An attic you can actually stand up in and store stuff in and use it as a room. Loft, kind of go up and you forget what's in there, don't you? Get the ladder out. Oh, good. I like that, Dominique. And you can get to it easily and you know where it is. I think that sounds like very cute and very traditional kind of storage for yarn. Oh, lovely. I'm imagining an old mansion house. Kim's using a chest of drawers and a spare bedroom. That sounds brilliant. I use a chest of drawers here. And with it being natural wood, you could easily put some lavender or cedar blocks in there as well. Brilliant. I love that. Chest of drawers, spare bedroom. Dominique will share pictures when it's all organized. Definitely. Love to see that. This is the one flaw, I think, with YouTube. Can't share photos. Joe, it's in the bedroom in a wooden chest of drawers. Brilliant. But it's also a plastic box next to the drawers and a big yarn tote and the stuff I bought that's still in the living room and the work in progress bag in the living room. Oops. Yeah. Let's try and figure out what's going on there, shall we? I'm going to challenge you over the next month. Perhaps the plastic box and the chest of drawers can be amalgamated. I bet there's stuff in the bedroom chest of drawers that you haven't knitted with, that you won't knit with, that someone else would knit with quite happily. So anything that's in the plastic box can just be amalgamated with the chest of drawers. I bet you could manage that. The yarn tote and stuff that I bought is still in the living room, and the work in progress bag in the living room as well. Okay, let's see what we can do. That's good. Janie, I wish I could knit all day and listen to audio stories. I'm rather snowed under in a care role and other things, but your videos really motivate you. I know, I wish I could knit all day as well. Thank you, Janie. That's lovely to hear. Yeah, this is one thing that I've not been able to do because Nick's been home very much. Just really not had the opportunity to listen to many audiobooks. So yesterday I chose 3. And I'm still listening to one that I started this time last year. It's so funny because I start listening to something and then I can't type and write emails or anything at the same time. Obviously, I can't edit videos at the same time as listening to an audiobook because I'm speaking on the video. So many things that I can't do with this. But then I'm talking to Nick if he's home and we're making lunch. I'm talking to Nick over breakfast when we're having a cup of tea, whereas normally by myself, I'd be listening to audiobooks. So that is a brilliant thing about Nick getting a job. Joe, drawers is the business stuff. Ah, now you're getting it organised. That's brilliant. Plastic box, is that from Nan? That probably needs to go. I am curious, could one drawer be your stuff that isn't business? And then the rest of it is business stuff. Is that an option? Is that an option? Maybe. Mitch, mine's at the back of the sofa in a cabinet. That's cool. And in canvas shopping bags. Some of it is earmarked to go, including the ferry case. There you go. So definitely, I like that some of you are actually kind of thinking, okay, I can get rid of some yarn because someone else will use it. There's this, I don't know why, but I really feel yarn doesn't have a personality. It's, you know, we're not going to anthropomorphize it. My mum used to get really annoyed. She said, it's okay if animals can have voices on cartoons, but trains and, you know, I don't know, mechanical diggers or something, that's just weird. So, yeah, things that already have consciousnesses, that's fine, they can have voices. But I do like to feel, and it does feel easier this way, that you can think about yarn. It's been made, it's been created. Let it have its journey. Let it have its purpose. It's made for knitting or crocheting or weaving. And if someone else can use it, then let it be. It doesn't need to stagnate in the bottom of a box in your spare bedroom because you won't use it. Just let it get out there and live its purpose. So I love that. Just you're starting to think about what can stay and what can go. Does anyone have any questions? We didn't do this on Saturday, but if you want a little bit of a Q&A, that's fine. And if you watch this morning's video, I do have the clothes shavers in the shop as well. I got those a couple of weeks ago. That's an option. I will be able to pack that up if you want them. It's all about depilling. Yeah, Thomas the Tank Engine. Oh dear. But this morning we were talking about depilling jumpers to go away into storage. So obviously you don't depill yarn before it's been knitted, but once it has been knitted, there will be an occasion when you need to depill it. So this is the tool I suggest. Go and have a look at all the other tools that I suggest and the ones that I tell you to avoid. That's in this morning's video. But this is what we have in the shop. I don't want to have scissors in the shop yet because there's so many rules about selling scissors. I just think, yeah, let's just avoid that for the moment. So we've got these, and we've got 8, I think, of these left. So if you want them, then I can easily get more. And it's a potluck. It's a mystery. Some of these are blue, some of these are pink, some of these are teal. I'll just get you a box and you'll find out when you get them. Okay. Kim, I've lost some ball bands on my wool stash. Do I have to go through the strands and count them to see what ply they are? If you count the strands, it won't tell you anything. That's the horrible thing, because there are so many strands, so many yarns now that have different numbers of strands to what they should be. You know, 8 ply is supposedly DK, but there are DK yarns with a single ply, with 3 plies, with 4 plies, with 10 plies. You just really cannot tell. That's the kind of attributed ply all those years ago when that was suggested, but it's not going to tell you anything. Put them up against yarns that you know what the thickness is. Then you could knit with it, just a little swatch, and say, does this make sense? There you go. Don't worry about it. That can also be attributed to little knits. It's a bookmark because it's quite a thin yarn. It's a set of coasters because it's a medium yarn, or it's quite a thin yarn. Just let yourself go. And Yarn Stash, which doesn't have ball band on it, can also go to charities that just want yarn for knitting up things like baby blankets, anything for charity that doesn't really matter about the yarn size. So yeah, you may well recognize that, oh, it's exactly like this other yarn, but it's just a different color. Give yourself some time to go through it, and you may well realize what quite a few of them are. And then just use a bit of paper and make your own ball band. Dominique, the synthetic bags seem to be quite expensive. This actually came with the wool when I got it online. So I've had quite a few of these, and now I've got to a point where I actually state in the checkout, no, I don't want another bag because I've got so many. So these are they're free with the yarn in the shop. They're relatively cheap. I'd say if you wanted to find them, you could probably find them quite easily and quite cheaply, because it's like a really thin net polyester or nylon with a drawstring at the top. So they can't be that expensive if they're giving them away for free with a bag of yarn. So I bet you could find them somewhere if you'd like them for yourself. Possibly it's organza, but there are so many different styles. It really is just a very thin woven synthetic. And then there's a seam up the side and a seam up the bottom, and then it's drawstring at the top. It's that. It's a drawstring bag, Kaz. Drawstring synthetic bag. No idea. Yeah, Joe. Cotton white goods bags that people screen print on. Yes, they are cheap on Amazon. I'd say you may be better off with something like the small net vegetable bags, or the kind of bags they sell for laundry, for your delicates. That could be something. I've got white tote bags, cream, linen, cotton totes as well, with some yarn in it. And like I said, they can hold on to the fibers if you're not, if you've got really fluffy yarn. So just keep a single ball of yarn in, a single type of yarn in each cotton bag, and don't mix them up too much. And then you can just wash them, or indeed just clean them. But cotton tote bags are quite nice for your current project if you want to go out with it. There you go. Okay, so we're coming up for the hour. I'm going to say goodbye. I haven't drunk much of my tea. And it's so sunny out there, but it's so cold. I'm aching to go in the garden. I think I'm going to need about 3 different layers on. Oh dear. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you next week. I think there'll be a Tuesday video. I'm not sure yet. But there will definitely be a live. Okay, so one or both. Oh dear. Right, I will see you again soon. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye for now. Happy knitting.